Hey everyone, it's time for another live look at the astrology. My name is Katie Sweetman, and this is Empowering Astrology for the week of October 25th through 31st. 2021. It's gonna be Halloween very soon. I'm kind of making this the Scorpio show because as of the 23rd, which was last Saturday, just a few days ago, the sun is now in Scorpio. So it's Scorpio season. We say goodbye to Libra. Libra, the sign of relationships, connection, socialization, and the sign that teaches us that everything needs to be balanced and in equity and harmony. But what does it mean to go into Scorpio season? We'll get into that in a moment. Sorry guys for the late start. I'm trying to get my software to work, but I do see some familiar faces. Do say hello. I know you guys join me again and again week after week, and I even know some of you all listen to the replay because I'll have clients and they'll say, I feel like I know you. I watch your replay, I listen to you on Spotify or YouTube or IGTV. I know it's crazy that you all keep coming back, but just to introduce myself for those who don't know who I am, my name is Katie Sweetman and I'm an astrologer and psychic medium in the New York City area, and we gather every week to look at the astrology. And here's the thing, and I know that it seems like every week it's something else, and to be fair, in a way it is. It's important for us to understand that we're just in this time in humanity where a lot of things have to change. The consciousness of the planet is shifting and changing. We're all not the same people we were a year ago. Think back to who you were 10 years ago. It feels like a lifetime. The amount of distance that we're covering and how we are interfacing with the astrology right now is very different. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. This is just my belief. I feel like that's very different in quality and nature than it was maybe a generation ago or more, because the potential at this time is to use this energy very differently than if it were the same type of transit maybe a generation ago. But something like, let's say, Pluto and Capricorn, which is what we've been in since 2008, that only comes around once every 250 years. So some of this astrology is actually quite unique. But, as we go into Scorpio season, we start to talk about some of the things that are going to make November's astrology a bit interesting. You'll maybe, get my point. But yeah, I'm here in the New York City area, and I'm also a psychic medium, so I bring that perspective into my work. And to kind of change subjects, I know you all were watching maybe last week, and I was telling you about the modules that I'm going to start releasing for astrology. So I just sort of say this again in case you want to learn astrology. I created this online learning course for you to start your astrology journey. It's called Module 1, The Fundamentals of Astrology, and this teaches you the 5 core fundamentals of astrology that everything builds upon. This will be planets, signs, elements, polarities, modalities, and from there you can start to really create a great foundation for yourself. So the link is in the show notes, or you can go to empoweringastrology.com/learn. I also mention this because I'm going to be doing an add-on live class. You're going to use your own astrology side by side to be able to start to learn your own astrology. But I know a lot of you know some astrology at this point, so maybe you're waiting for some more intermediate stuff. Stay tuned. But let's talk about the astrology of this week, October 25th through 31st, 2021. Like I said, we are in Scorpio season. So Scorpio, 8th sign of the zodiac. It's the sign that teaches us that there is both life and death, light and dark. It is the duality of existence that Scorpio is known for. This is why Scorpio has that polarity. A little fun fact, or a little mental gymnastics for you all. Scorpio is the 8th sign of the zodiac, and Gemini is Scorpio's 8th sign. So if you count out, you get Gemini, and that's to show you that there's actually this connection between Scorpio and Gemini. What is Gemini? It's duality, choice, the choices that we all have to make, whether they work out or not. So this is a season where, in a way, we are navigating our choices. We are navigating the duality of life, both internally and externally. Scorpio is a sign, it's a necessary sign. I mean, the zodiac, it's the wheel of life. And it's also this evolutionary journey that we make, starting from Aries, going all the way to the last sign of the zodiac, Pisces. And when we get to Scorpio, we have to face ourselves. You cannot skip Scorpio. It's this, this necessary step for us to be able to grow and transform. And if either of you or any of you have ever been through a situation in your life, somebody passes, or you have to really make a big decision, or you're really facing yourself or looking deep within, that energy, that emotional energy, but that is the energy that makes you transform, and for you to become more self-aware, more conscious, and for you to put light on your unconscious, light on your shadows. So we're doing our shadow work this Scorpio season, and we are especially doing our shadow work this Scorpio season because on October 30th, Mars, the ruler of Scorpio, will go into Scorpio. It will go into its home sign on October 30th. Let me explain why this is important. So I don't know if you all noticed the shift from Libra to Scorpio. It was pretty palpable. Why? Because Libra is ruled by Venus. Venus is a planet that's about socialization and learning to compromise and becoming aware of other people's needs and the sensuality and the beauty of life, of course. Venus right now, it's in Sagittarius, so that sort of energy of air and fire, that was the kind of Libra season we were having. But when the sun went into Scorpio, it changed the rulers. It's a little bit of a technical point, but I think it's important for us to understand, why is rulership in astrology so important? I'm actually teaching about this at one point. I think it's going to be in module 2. But, now with the sun in Scorpio, it shifted the rulership. So even though Mars is still in Libra, Mars is in a square to Pluto. It's pretty intense. So, we're having these really intense emotional, spiritual, psychological, alchemical, soul energies. And then, wait till we get into later this week, because when a planet goes into its own sign, it adds strength in the sky. So for example, Saturn is in Aquarius. Saturn rules Aquarius. Aquarius is systems and networks, both our intellectual networks, our societal networks, our technological networks. It's also the networks in which we ship things and move things, and certainly that's a bit stressed at the moment, but I digress. But Mars is going to go into its own sign, and it's going to add energy, strength to Scorpio. So whatever part of your chart Scorpio is, and you're thinking, but I'm not a Scorpio, but you have somewhere in your chart Scorpio. That's the thing. You are all 12 signs of the zodiac. You may have the sun in Taurus, but then Scorpio, for example, is your relationship sign. So that part of your life is going to get a lot of strength, meaning you're going to have power. You're going to have a sense of control. You're going to have a sense of wanting to make transformations, but also maybe having to do a lot of deep emotional, spiritual, and psychological work. Scorpio is an area of your chart that is under a little bit of stress right now. That's because, and you've heard me talk about this all year long, in 2021 we have 1 foot in a new life. It's as if 1 foot in a new life, 1 foot in an old life. And maybe you're thinking, wow, I still feel like I'm still holding on to something, or maybe I'm still stuck in something, but at the same time you're feeling yourself pulled in another direction. That's 2021. 2021 is also doing a really good job actually, trying to get us out of our own way. That's why your fixed signs, your Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquariuses are seeing a lot of big changes in their life. And even if you have those signs in your chart prominent in some way. So not the sun. Well, the sun is in Scorpio now, but Mars going into Scorpio later this week, it activates that energy of Saturn square Uranus. It's pulling us even more into a new life. We're feeling the tension of something old, something that has to be resolved. Remember, Scorpio is the sign that makes us face ourselves. So, am I safe to go into this new life? Am I safe to transform? Can I be vulnerable? Can I open up to somebody, or can I open up to a situation? Scorpio, even though the D word typically doesn't make people feel good, but Scorpio is the sign of death. Scorpio reminds us that all things die. This is why I love the polarity between Scorpio and Taurus, because Scorpio is always like, yeah, all things die, but then Taurus is like, but then all things are reborn in the spring. And Taurus is like, don't be so serious, Scorpio, like just eat something, like enjoy life. But here we are, Scorpio season. I say this as somebody who's in the East Coast of the United States. The leaves are starting to change. Typically the days are getting longer, it's getting colder. So Scorpio is saying, yes, all things must die. So maybe the tension that you're feeling in the Scorpio season is something in your life symbolically has to die. It has to cross over. It has to come to an end. And that's maybe the emotions that are coming up. Am I safe to let this go? Can I, experiencing grief, or having to go back and look at something from long ago, because there's this energy in Scorpio that talks about our past and even our past traumas. Maybe that's something that we're confronting this season. So even, I'm kind of jumping the gun a little bit on November astrology, but Mars is going to be in Scorpio all November long. We're going to have a Scorpio new moon on November 4th at 12 degrees of Scorpio, right on Saturn square Uranus. The sun will be opposite Uranus, it'll be square Saturn. Then we go 2 weeks later, we have a lunar eclipse in Taurus, the first of 2 eclipses. This is actually the first in a series of eclipses that will be in Scorpio and Taurus. So lots shifting and changing. And the thing about Scorpio is that this is our designated time, our yearly time for us to go through its energies. But once a month for a couple of days, the moon's in Scorpio. Or maybe Saturn was in Scorpio in 2012 to 2015, for example. So there's times where we have to really be in this energy. It could be a day, it could be a year, it could be a month, but it's with that time when we all have to make some sort of inner psychic shift. Scorpio is a very psychological sign, so this is a time when we all have to really do our deep psychological work, face the parts of ourselves that are unhealed, have to transform. So sort of put a lot of things on your radar, because Scorpio, and I say this as a Scorpio, yes, it's my birthday season. I'm a later Scorpio though. It's a season where you can't, like, something can't be avoided, especially if you've got Pluto in the mix. You can't avoid it. So if you're feeling a lot of intense emotions, this is why I bring this up. Not to be like, oh, yeah, again, here we are again. We have to do all this like deep, heavy work. Of course not. Take care of yourself. Scorpio season doesn't mean that we don't take care of ourselves. We actually do self-care even more. But it's sort of the necessary alchemy that we need in order to do to grow and evolve as people, as humans on this planet at this crazy time. So yeah, it's no coincidence that Halloween coincides, or Samhain, hopefully I'm not saying it wrong, coincides with Scorpio season, because Halloween is one of the what are called cross quarter days, meaning it's the point that's between the equinox and the solstice. So you have them in Scorpio, May Day, May 1st, Beltane. You have, I'm blanking on the name, the one that happens February 1st, Candlemas, St. Bridget's Day. But anyway, so you have these days, and typically they used to line up with the start of the month, but because of something called precession of the equinox, the midpoint of Scorpio is closer to, I think it's November 7th or 8th these days. So anyway, tangent. So yeah, I told you this Scorpio show. So yeah, if you are a Scorpio, do say hello. It's our season. It's my birthday season. Maybe it's your birthday season too. But when we go through the signs in a moment, we'll talk about what part of your life is going to be heating up as you go into November. But the other thing I want to mention, and I in a way already did, is Sun square Saturn. Sorry, I got it backwards. Sun squares Saturn, Scorpio Sun makes a square to square means 9 degrees, makes a square to Saturn in Aquarius also on October 30th. So whenever we have a aspect to Saturn, certainly Sun square Saturn is one of the major ones of the year. It's our, kind of quarterly check-in with Saturn. What's Saturn? Well, Saturn can either be our coach, meaning somebody that sees our mentor, somebody that sees our highest potential and is trying to get us to step into that highest potential. Saturn can be like a parent. Don't do this. Don't, this is what you do, this is what you don't do. There's a sense of boundaries and a sense of like rules and structure with Saturn, or Saturn can be like the cops. You did something knowing full well that you were breaking the rules, and here are the consequences. Just say this not for you to be afraid of Saturn. You all know that I'm pretty pro Saturn over here, meaning Saturn's got a job to do. Saturn's just trying to get us to grow up and make better choices and be better human beings on this planet. And then we throw some Scorpio energy and it all feels super real. So yeah, Sun square Saturn this week. Make sure you're eating your vegetables, you're getting up on time, you're showing up to your appointments, you're honoring your commitments. It's just what Saturn wants. Saturn, a little technical point, it's exalted in Libra. Maybe you've heard me say this before, meaning Saturn just wants equity, balance, and fairness. So this week, what does Saturn want? Equity, balance, and fairness. And maybe there's a part of your life that does not have equity, it does not have balance. And this is what we, in a way, went through during Libra season, our annual time to look at the structures of our lives, the relationships of our lives, English hard, and to put things into balance. So I always just tell people, do what Saturn wants. Life's a lot easier. So set some goals for yourself this week, or check in with existing goals. So that's sort of your Saturn work this week. I will say sort of the twist in all of that is Saturn is square Uranus this year. So whatever you are building, whatever you are doing, it is not the old pattern, it is not the old structure, because you have Uranus that's trying to break you out of your way. But let's look at the astrology of October 25th through 31st for each of the 12 signs. You can listen for your sun sign, your rising sign. Some people like the moon sign. So let's start with Aries. So Aries, you got Mars, your planet. It's going into Scorpio. So Scorpio is your 8th sign. And in many ways, everything that I've been talking about over the last 10-15 minutes applies to you. Meaning you had Mars in Libra for the past 6 weeks, and now it's moving into a new sign. So you're going to really feel that shift later this week. Mars going to Scorpio says that over the next 6 weeks, and I believe this is until December 13th or 14th, I think that's when it goes into Sagittarius, you need to do a lot of deep examination, facing yourself, facing your fears, looking at your blind spots, your deep psyche. This is a time to focus on emotional healing, intimacy, vulnerability, sexuality, power, control, shadow, death, rebirth, transformation, transmutation, and evolution. So you've got a little bit of a, run for your money over the next 5-6 weeks, because Mars will also be an aspect to Uranus over in Taurus, your money sign, money, value, stability, security. And it's like, am I safe? What do I need in order to feel safe and secure in this world? How do I shift my values, what I need? Or maybe this is time when you're really focusing on getting wealth, your financials in order. Certainly that's a really traditional way of looking at this time. But Mars will also make a square to Saturn in November. So you've got sort of this time when you're under pressure to really take that next big step up in your life. So you are really feeling this time, but don't forget, Aries, that you are in a greater arc of time where you need to really shift your relationship with money, income, how you earn a living, and your sense of value and worth, and this includes self-worth. Taurus. Mars is going into your relationship sign. So yes, Scorpio is your relationship sign, and typically a couple of things can happen. Now, Mars, just in general in this part of the chart, it can be a little bit noisy, meaning Mars makes things happen. So for example, if you have a disagreement with somebody, it's kind of bubbling beneath the surface. Here comes Mars, and now it's not bubbling beneath the surface. It demands your attention. Another scenario is that Mars is really motivating you and inspiring you to make connections to other people. This includes socializing, one-on-one connections, relationship, and partnerships. Mars, wherever it is in the chart, we can't ignore it, so it's certainly making relationships a top priority going into December. See what's going on in this part of your life. Certainly, if you are single and you want to make some new connections, this could work out, kind of giving you that push to do so. If you're already in an intimate partnership, maybe you have to sort of renegotiate or deal with something, or maybe your partner's needs are really important at the moment, but let's not forget, Taurus, that you're in a larger arc of time where you are completely transforming. You know that I've talked about this sort of week in, week out, but Uranus, it's in your sign until 2025, 2026. So you're in this sort of pressure cooker, I think, going into November, where you need to start to make some big changes. You're thinking, well, what kind of changes? Well, I will say I'm kind of getting ahead of things, but you do have a lunar eclipse in your sign on November 19th. So you're not going to just only be in the spotlight, Taurus, but you're sort of coming up to a crossroads, a pivot, or a change in your personal direction. So I think that Mars is going to start to crank up that story, but that's where the spotlight is right now. At least it's on relationships and other people. What comes after Taurus? Gemini. Gemini, Mars is going into your sixth sign. So the sixth sign is work and health and projects and sort of the details of day-to-day living. And typically when Mars goes into this area, typically are a little bit of a workaholic. Mars isn't like a sit around and do nothing kind of planet. So get ready to be busy, Gemini, over the next 5-6 weeks until the middle of December. So you might be really busy. You might need to go to the gym more. I say this because Mars is a very physical planet, meaning it needs to go do things physically. It needs to go for a run, a walk, go to the gym, lift weights. So it needs, this energy needs an outlet. Maybe you're using it on a creative project. Maybe you're using it in the office or in your work, but you're doing something. You just can't sit there and not do something. You may be really busy over the next few weeks, but really that's just putting that pressure on the part of the chart that's really, you're in a little bit of an existential crisis right now, Gemini, or at least trying to figure out, what does everything mean? What do you believe in? What's faith? What's truth and meaning for you? And I think that with Sun coming up too, that Sun square Saturn later this week, you've got to figure out what you believe in, what's your truth, what's your convictions, and maybe standing up for what you believe in. Cancer, Mars is going into your fifth sign. So typically this is the time when you feel alive. You want to express yourself. You've got some sort of talent, a gift, an ability, or at least the need to really assert your individuality or even your persona or identity. And this is a time when maybe you're really focused on having fun, being a kid, or kind of leisure. I don't really like the word leisure. There's a better word. Anyway. But Mars in the fifth means that you have oodles of creative energy. Just give it an outlet. Even if you're saying to me, Katie, I'm not that creative, I'm pretty sure there's something that you do, because the act of creativity isn't just art. It's where you put yourself into something, whether it's a spreadsheet, whether it's the dinner that you made, whether it is, artistic in some way. But I think there's a deeper question right now, Cancer. It's like, well, who are you? Like, what's deep down inside of you, and how do you express who that, what that is? It's an energy. It's an energy that we all have inside of us. This part of the chart does talk about children. So in case children is something that is part of your life, whether you're the children you have or the children you want, but sometimes Mars can motivate you to either have children or have to take care of something with your children that you have. Mars can be a little bit pressing buttons. But nevertheless, Cancer, don't forget who you are. I say this, Cancer, and I know you've heard me say this in previous weeks. You're going through a lot right now. Remember how I said that there's just sometimes where we're doing the Scorpio work, and it could be a month, it could be a year. Well, in a way, you're doing that right now, but you're doing it for 2.5, 3 years. But the good news is that you're halfway through it. You got Saturn in the 8th house, the 8th sign, and that's sort of the deeper scorpionic work that you're doing right now, Cancer. But to do your scorpionic work, it doesn't mean you have to suffer. And I think that Mars in your 5th sign is a reminder just to have fun, play, be creative, figure out what your joy and your passion is. These things are not luxuries, they are a necessity, and joy and passion is what refuels you, or refills you, however you want to say that, to be able to do the deep work. Leo. So Mars is going in your home sign. So Scorpio forms the base of your personal astrology, home, family, roots, foundation, and also your inner emotional core and inner emotional needs. So having Mars in this part of the chart is a little bit interesting. So typically Mars is not quiet. It makes things happen. It sort of motivates you to do things. So maybe you're doing things in the home. Maybe you are working on projects in the home. Maybe you are just having people over. Sometimes when Mars is in this part of the chart, the home is not quiet. Meaning there's people, there's family. There's things about family that demand your attention right now, certainly. And I say this, from an American perspective, we're kind of going into the holiday season. So maybe this part of the chart just kind of demands more attention. But that said, it's deep emotions. These are emotions that are both yours. These are ancestral, family. And this part of the chart, I like to explain it like it's like soil. It's the soil that we plant our roots in. It's our foundation. And sometimes that soil gets a little complicated. So how do you make sure that you are doing the deep transformation work to create a foundation and a part of the life that's actually going to support you and feed you? Because this is the part, I'm getting really technical here for a moment, but this is where the IC is, so to speak, the 4th house, and that part, it's like the roots that you stick down deep into the earth. And we all have to have roots. No roots mean everything that we want in this world. 10th house, it's just an idea. It's like, so we have to make sure we have really good roots and supports for all the ambitions, the things that we want to create in this world. But nevertheless, Mars does put the focus on family. Mars in this part of the chart, especially after the Scorpio new moon on November 4th, can speak to a move, a change in the household. Somebody moves in, somebody moves out, or change in the home or residence in some way. I've seen this show up with Mars down here. Is suddenly the home gets literally noisy. They're doing demolition with the neighbors, or there's something outside. So I just sort of say that, just, get some earplugs. Leo. Oh, I should also add, because Saturn is in your 7th, we have Sun square Saturn, and you are ruled by the Sun, Leo. So maybe you're feeling some pressure this weekend with Sun square Saturn. But don't forget, Leo, this is a time about relationships, building relationships, alliances, serious partnerships, making sure your relationships are equitable and balanced. Virgo. So Mars is in your third sign, and the third sign is about voice and communication, how you think listen and learn. And Mars typically has a point to make. You know, think about Mars and Scorpio. Scorpio's got a point. So maybe what you are saying is coming from someplace deep within. Maybe it's kind of raw, maybe it's kind of real. Scorpio doesn't sugarcoat things. There's a need to have conversations that are deep in some way, revealing, maybe the sense of revealing secrets, or maybe this is about you finding the strength of your voice at this time. That's the thing, Virgo. You have Scorpio on your third house, your third sign, so you've got a powerful voice. Use it, or rather, like, well, if you do have a powerful voice, how are you using it? And I think that also with Scorpio in this part of the chart, that's a deep need to analyze, to search, to find answers, to find information. So maybe you're a little obsessed with the details at the moment, Virgo. I think Virgo is actually a secret Scorpio, side note, but anyway. But maybe you're a bit obsessed with the details, obsessed with the ideas and the information. Maybe travel is a big focus at the moment. Maybe you're just running around town, hopping in the car, going on trips, as much as one can these days. But nevertheless, this is the part of the chart that's really getting some focus at the moment. And this is an element of choice in all of this, looking at the choices that you make. And then you have Saturn over in your sixth sign. The sun is over in the third. So you're sort of weighing and analyzing some big choices right now, Virgo. Libra. So Mars has left your sign. So Mars has been in Libra since I think it was the end of September. Don't quote me. Mars typically spends about 5-6 weeks in each of the zodiac signs, unless it turns retrograde. Anyway, side note. But Mars has been in Libra for, the last 6 weeks, and you've had energy. Mars in your sign, it compels you, it motivates you, it wants you to move forward, it wants you to take action. And maybe that's something you've been doing, Libra, over the last month and a half. So Mars leaving your sign, it's now going into your second sign. The second sign is about money and income, material stability, and material security. So you now feel motivated and driven, Mars, to have more material stability in your life. So maybe you're focused on your income, getting more income, trying to figure out ways in order to get your needs met, your material needs met. Maybe you're gathering resources, accumulating personal wealth or personal resources. But this is a time where you need to really focus on your material life, however you want to define that. Of course, everybody has different values and needs. But there's, speaking of value, this is also a time where things like self-worth are focused, or there's a focus on that. So what's the value of something? What's the value of you, your time, your money, your energy, the work you put into something? But that said, Libra, you've got Saturn in your fifth. So whatever this issue around money, income, material stability, it's also rubbing up against this sort of bigger question of how do you take yourself and take your talents seriously? And I know, Libra, you're doing a lot of shadow work right now. You're sort of looking at your inner saboteur, especially as Uranus is over in your eighth sign. I'm sort of getting ahead of myself. But the big focus is on money and value, but also how you sometimes get in the way and self-sabotage. Scorpio, happy birthday, Scorpio. Mars, your planet, is coming out of Libra. Libra is your 12th sign. So when Mars went into Libra, I believe it was the end of September, you sort of entered your time. It happens every 2 years because Mars has a 2-year orbit, FYI. Mars entered a time where you had to take a rest. You had to go within. You had to come to the end of this 2-year chapter. Just a little fun fact, the last time Mars was in Scorpio, I believe it was November of 2019 until early January of 2020. So go back to November of 2019. Like, where were you at? What was happening? And not to say that it's going to be the same, but it's sort of this thread and time that you're coming back to. So you're coming out of that time where you have to rest and relax. You can't quite move as forward as you'd like to, Scorpio, but Mars going into your sign is a new beginning. It's a time to take action, move forward, launch yourself. It's a time to feel like you have all the cards. You have power, you have control. Use it wisely, Scorpio. But Mars in your sign gives you strength. So if you felt like maybe you've been a little bit of the underdog at the moment, we'll just wait till Mars goes in Scorpio. So this is going to turn up the volume on Scorpios right now, but it's typically a time for you to really go off in a sort of start this new cycle in your life, especially after that Scorpio new moon on November 4th. I will reiterate, Mars, it has been in a 10 square with Pluto. It's probably a little bit of a very interesting time for Scorpios at the moment, but when it goes into Scorpio on October 30th, it's going to start to activate a lot of energies that have been with you, Scorpio, all year long. Saturn square Uranus. You, just like the other fixed signs, you've had one foot in a new life, one foot in an old life. And you're feeling the push and the pull. And one of the pushes and the pulls right now for you, Scorpio, is home. That's where Saturn is, because you're trying to figure out where's home, who is home, how you're going to sort of create the foundation that you need in this life. Also, a lot of family responsibilities and obligations at the moment. But then you have Uranus in your seventh sign. So Scorpio, you're going to feel this more, of course, after the 30th, but don't forget that this is a time where you have to connect, interact, and socialize with people on a very different level. And this is about new people coming into your life that are very different than the old. If you are in a relationship, it's about that relationship evolving in some way. If you're not in a relationship, you have to have, not that you need to have romantic partnership at this time, but you can't do things alone, Scorpio. So really see where you're at after the 30th, especially after November 4th. But I will say, Scorpio, there's going to be a lot of pressure on you this season because Mars is going to be in those aspects with Saturn and Uranus, and it's going to be interesting. So maybe this is not just a return home for you, Mars and Scorpio. You are at a crossroads and on the cusp of a very different chapter. Sagittarius. Mars has gone into what's called your 12th sign. So Scorpio is your 12th sign. So the conventional wisdom is that when a major planet goes into the 12th, it's a time when you typically don't have as much energy. To be fair, Jupiter, your planet, it's over in your third. It's in Aquarius. It'll be in Aquarius till the end of December. But you do have a sense of, restlessness and curiosity at the moment. But it is a time with Mars going into your 12th to take a break, to take a rest, to do some soul searching, some inner work. You're coming to the end of a 2-year chapter. And, just like all chapters, they have to end. They have to wrap up. So Mars in this part of the chart, maybe you're more tired, don't push as hard, get the rest that you need, recuperate, do the inner work, retreat, reflection. But there's sort of this, duality that's happening between your spiritual life and your earthly life because you have Uranus down in your 6th sign. And where's the tension at the moment? Well, the tension is happening in your 3rd because that's where Saturn is. And maybe this is about what choices are you making? You're coming to the end of a great journey, and Mars will go into Sagittarius. I think it's the 13th of December. Maybe I'm off on a day, but as you go into that new chapter in December, especially when Jupiter goes back into Pisces on December 28th, which way are you going? So maybe this is a time to do a lot of inner strategy work, reflection, listening to your intuition. That's the other thing about this time. You have to take your internal voice seriously. Let's say spiritually, or even take your spirituality seriously. But that said, don't push, don't rush. Really be deliberate and calculating the best possible way. Really try to find the balance between heaven and earth, your human life, your non-human life, your inner life, your worldly life, and you'll feel a bit reborn, especially because you're going to have a solar eclipse on December 4th, and that's sort of this new season for you, not just your birthday season, but you're going to have one last eclipse in your sign. So maybe use this time to strategize in advance. Aquarius. Mars is going into your 11th sign. Was I doing that correct? Nope, not 11th, 10th sign. Sorry. Wait, did I do something wrong? Wait, I skipped over somebody. Capricorn. See, sorry, Capricorn. Caught myself. Not like the other week where I completely, missed Virgo. I'm so sorry, Virgo. But anyway, yes, Capricorn. I was going to say, wait, this math doesn't add up. Mars is going into your 11th sign. And the 11th sign is about community, it's about friends, your social circle, your sort of greater social networks. So this is a time where Mars coming out of Libra means you're coming off of a 2-year career peak. It's not to say that this is going to be your only career peak for the next 2 years, but it's certainly a major time where over the last 5-6 weeks, you've had to really focus on your professional life. Really launching yourself out there. Maybe there's been job changes or a new job or a need to step up with responsibilities. The idea is that you've made achievements over the last 5-6 weeks, and then Mars goes into your 11th sign, and now you have to sort of think about the future. Where do you want your life to head? What are your hopes, your dreams, your wishes? What's the next ambition, the one that you will diligently and steadily work on over the next 12 to 18 plus months, because Mars will come back around. Yeah, I'm not going to miss Cap. So that said, Mars is also going into the sign that's about your social networks, and Mars can be a bit pointed, but it is saying that you have to really focus on friends and community at the moment. And if you've been working or focusing on elsewhere in your life, don't forget about friends. And if you're thinking, what friends? I'm so sorry, Capricorn. Maybe this is a time when you can make some new ones. You can go out and get them. Mars, it does like to hunt. It does like to go, get things happening. So Mars is really making you get out there in the world. So maybe your dance card is a little bit fuller than usual. Maybe you see some group activities to get involved with. Maybe you're figuring out, well, who are my friends? Who are my the people that I want to be aligned with? But that said, you are looking ahead, you are looking towards the bigger picture. This could also be a time when you're looking at humanitarian causes, things around the society, social issues, the collective. But there is this push and pull right now for Capricorn between the world and your friends and the things that you're a part of, and then also you. Well, who are you? Who are you deep inside? And Capricorn, you're just doing so much transformation work at the moment, and then you have Saturn, your planet, in your money signs. You're just like, am I valuable to the world? Am I valuable to my community? Does my community value me? Is it worth it? Maybe that's something that you're going to be questioning over the next 5-6 weeks as well. But especially with that, Scorpio new moon, that's a new time, a new chapter. But I think Mars is really going to give this part of your chart some energy, and you're really going to be looking at these sort of where am I steering my life towards? What's of value? What's going to create material stability for my life, or just stability in general? But also, how do I stay true to myself? So you're going to be in a little bit of a what's called a T-square. Give me a little bit of a tension as you go into November, Capricorn. See, I didn't forget Capricorn. Aquarius. Now it's time for Aquarius. So Mars will go into your 10th sign. The 10th sign is about career, our ambitions, the title after our name, the place that we live in the world, and sort of the role that we live in the world. So Mars in this part of the chart says that your professional life, your goals, your ambitions, they demand your attention. Mars is drive, it's action. Mars is like the gas in astrology, no Mars, no go. Like, we need Mars. Little side note, this is the thing. And I have clients that come to me and they're stuck, or they have a vision in their head and it's just not happening. And often it's because the Mars is missing. It's not that they're not doing things, but it's like that energy. You got to really feel Mars right now. Mars is like, that root chakra, the base of your spine. It's that, like, you get turned on by life, but it's that energy that really needs to be underneath all the things that you're doing right now. Because if you want to launch something in the world at the moment, it needs the power, it needs the gas, it needs the drive in order to make something happen. But that said, this is a time where you are taking on more responsibility. Your work life demands more of you. Maybe you're really busy in your professional life. Maybe you are either on the offensive or defensive. Oh, there's my puppy. You won't get to see my puppy. He's bigger. He's bigger now. He wants to be a part of this. So you can all say hi to Miguel. Little side note, and I'll get back to Aquarius, is the reason why you don't hear the squeaky toys anymore is because he methodically rips out the squeaky out of the toy. So then it's just a husk of a dead stuffed animal. But anyway, so Aquarius, Mars. So this is a 2-year career peak for you. This is a time, it's funny, it's looking at my dog in the background. This is a 2-year career peak. So I'm distracted by my dog. This is a 2-year career peak. So use this time wisely over the next 5-6 weeks. Sorry, we have an interloper. Because you really want to use this time to your advantage. So really launch something into the world, get a new job, take on more responsibility in your existing job, really strategize for your future. That said, you have Uranus down in your home sign, your 4th sign, so you're really feeling the tension and pull between family, your inner core, your inner world, and your external world out there. So you're really feeling like, well, how do I make my ambitions happen? But don't forget your home environment, both literally and emotionally and spiritually, is what supports all of this. But Saturn, your planet, is in your sign. It's been there since December 2020. So, this is the thing I think that Aquarius is really going through at the moment, is that Aquarius, you are really feeling capital L life right now. It's so much about new beginnings, sobering new beginnings, or taking on new responsibilities. So you're really going to feel this tension as you go into November about, like, really having to take action, take the lead, take direction on something in your life. But don't forget that, especially as you go up to that eclipse on November 19th, it is maybe about seeing changes in your home environment, a move, or even like an inner move in some way. Hi, Miguel. Just move over to the side. So Pisces, last but not least, Pisces. So Mars is going into your 9th sign. The 9th sign is a couple of things. It's higher education, meaning it's how you are educated about the world. Maybe you have to go back to school. Maybe you're taking more classes, or even in a non-traditional way, just becoming more educated. This part of the chart is also about faith, truth, and meaning. And when Mars is in this part of the chart, you have a lot to say. You have a lot of opinions, and maybe you are sharing those opinions. Maybe they are a little pointed, but Mars is also getting you to stand up for what you believe in, your convictions, or maybe you're just feeling very motivated to get more wisdom and knowledge, to explore, to see the world, whether it's literally or metaphorically. And this part of the chart also does talk about sort of these the things that are these philosophical truths that our lives hang on to, maybe even needing to transform some of the things that we thought that we were rock solid beliefs. Maybe they're not so rock solid anymore, because the tension that's happening with Mars now in Scorpio is that you have Uranus down in your 3rd sign. You've needed to really see things differently, to use your voice differently, to make different choices, Pisces. And then you have Saturn and even Jupiter, your planet, in the 12th. So you are coming to an end of a very long chapter in your life. So it's about really letting go of certain things, and maybe that is shaking your faith. Maybe that's shaking how you see the world. Maybe you need to get new perspectives in some way. But there's a lot of this existential pushing and pulling that's happening right now, Pisces. And I will add Pisces, even though Saturn will be in your 12th sign into the beginning of 2023, Jupiter, your planet, will get out of the 12th on December 28th. So if you feel a little bit in limbo at the moment, Pisces, just, well, number one, use this time to really let go, like truly let go. Because the things that are still with you, like when Jupiter goes into Pisces, it's like they're with you. Like this is your time with Jupiter in the 12th to really truly come to the end of some sort of chapter in your life. And then Jupiter goes into Pisces on December 28th, and you are in a new chapter, a new phase of life. But that said, maybe you're doing a lot of soul searching. Maybe you need to do a lot of soul searching at this time. It's apparently today's the Miguel show too. But anyway, that's where the pushing and pulling is happening at the moment. And maybe you just simply need to see things differently, Pisces. So there you go. We had a little puppy come and say hi. But that is your look at the astrology of October 25th through 31st, 2021. My name is Katie Sweetman, and this has been Empowering Astrology, and you can follow me online at empoweringastrology.com. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify. Don't forget to book a consultation with me. I know many of you are my clients. Somebody asked, what's Miguel's sign? Miguel is an Aries. He's born March 28th, 2021. He was born on a Libra full moon, so he's got a Libra moon. He's Sun-Venus conjunction in Aries, Sun-Venus-Chiron conjunction in Aries. I don't know his birth time because that information was not given to me. So he's either like a Leo rising or maybe Sag rising. It's funny, he has an exact Mercury-Neptune conjunction, and I have an exact Mercury-Neptune conjunction, but his is in Pisces, mine's in Sagittarius. So it's just funny, like the synastry that you have with an animal, even though it's not a human. But again, I am teaching these modules. It's a 4-hour online course. It's a self-study, but there is the additional add-on that you can do. I'm going to do a class at 12 p.m. Eastern on November 13th, Saturday, November 13th. It's going to be about 4 hours. And that's where we really integrate these basics and these 5 fundamentals in astrology. So you can go to empoweringastrology.com/learn. All the information's in the show notes. But thank you all for joining me for another live look at the astrology. I see some familiar faces. But yeah, thank you. Yeah, you guys got to get a little see Miguel. But until next week, take care. Bye.